Very good morning, everyone. I hope the audio and video is good. So, very good morning once again. Welcome back to the class. Today, as you must have seen, we are going to cover top 50 news from January current affairs. Okay? Top 50 news from January CA. Can anyone please confirm audio and video is good? So you see, since we have discussed every news in very much detail, and this is particularly finance, banking or regulatory bodies news. So not all news are being covered here. This is specifically the segment for banking, finance and regulatory bodies news. Okay, the concepts here. All right, thank you. The concepts here are not going to be discussed because in the classes itself we have discussed the concepts, right? If I keep on discussing the concept of each news, it will take a very it will be a very lengthy class. So it's just a revision of the important news. Now what you have to do is, when I complete this session, you have top 50 news from finance and banking and regulatory bodies from January. Go through the PDF, read them once again and revise the concepts which I have explained, right? So concepts we have discussed already, all the technical terminologies, all the jargons, all the financial terminologies in the classes itself. So it's going to be just a quick revision. All right, let's begin with the class. So first, you have the revamped e-auction portal, Baanknet. Baanknet, if you remember, we have discussed number of times. Baanknet recently was launched by Department of Financial Services Secretary M. Nagaraju in New Delhi. What is Baanknet? Baanknet is going to work as, e-auction platform. E-auction platform for all the public sector banks. So all the e-auction which happens for all the public sector banks, this is going to be one-stop solution, right? And also remember, e-Bikre is now Baanknet only, okay? e-Bikre is now Baanknet only, all right? So remember Baanknet and e-Bikre, that is important. Next very important thing is the work demand in December 2024 under the flagship scheme Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act (MNREGA) was 8.3% higher than corresponding period in 2023. So work demand was 8.3% higher than the corresponding period in 2023 under MNREGA. So this is important. Work demand under MNREGA is higher, and remember, for this scheme particularly, Center has budgeted 86,000 crore rupees for financial year 2025. So this can be an important figure for all of you. This is something you must remember. 86,000 crores have been budgeted for MNREGA in financial year 2025. Okay. So you can remember this figure. Next, manufacturing. So HSBC India Manufacturing PMI compiled by S&P Global says India's manufacturing sector growth slipped to 56.4 points in December 2024. So it has slipped to 56.4 according to PMI, manufacturing PMI. PMI आपको पता ही है. PMI, already, Purchasing Managers Index. So it reflects the economic activities. If it is talking about manufacturing sector, it is reflecting manufacturing economic activities. Remember, PMI has declined. PMI has declined to 56.4, although it has declined, but still above, the required index. So generally what happens is 50, any figure above 50 is considered expansion, improvement in the economic activity. So it is above 50. So that's not a very big cause of worry. The next is Ministry of Commerce and Industry has recently formed a working group to revise the base year for WPI. WPI का बेस ईयर रिवाइज करने के लिए मिनिस्ट्री ने एक कमिटी बनाई, एक वर्किंग ग्रुप बनाया है. नाउ व्हाट यू रिमेंबर, it is being chaired by Professor Ramesh Chand, member Niti Aayog. This is very important fact, remember that. Okay. And what is the expected base year? So they are planning to change the base year from present 2011-12 to 22-23. This is for WPI. They are planning to change this base year from present 2011-12 to 2022-23. This is something you need to remember. And also remember how many members will be there? 18 members. Who is going to chair this working group to change the base year for WPI? Professor Ramesh Chand, Niti Aayog. Then next you have Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund. The Mubadala Investment Company has recently claimed world's leading sovereign investor title in 2024. So remember that. You already know these concepts, sovereign investor, wealth funds. We have discussed in the class. That's why I'm not going to discuss the concepts again. We are just going through the important news. So remember, the Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund, Mubadala Investor Company, 2024 में leading sovereign investor का title it has clinched. Then next, recently, US banks, Citigroup and Bank of America. Citigroup and Bank of America, they have exited Net Zero Banking Alliance. They were in news because they were exiting Net Zero Banking Alliance. Net Zero Banking Alliance, that's why becomes important. Net Zero Banking Alliance is what? It is a group of leading banks, those who are also committed towards, aligning the Sustainable Development Targets or Paris Agreement targets of reducing the global average temperature, net zero emissions and all these things. So they want to fund these kind of projects which are environmentally sustainable. Remember. Also, Net Zero Banking Alliance, you need to remember, they want to invest in such activities with net zero greenhouse emissions by 2050. By 2050, they want to finance such kind of projects. So remember, by 2050. Next important news here is, although it is not financial news, but it is important. Remember, Marathi language is officially been granted status of classical language. You remember that, and this is important for all the upcoming examinations. So presently, how many classical languages do you have? 11. Now, what you need to remember is the original 6 classical languages, and you also need to remember the 5 new classical languages, right? 5 new classical languages are Marathi, recent status, सबसे recent status Marathi, then Pali, Prakrit, Assamese, and Bengali. Then of course you have the NSO releasing first advance estimates under MOSPI. First advance estimate of annual GDP for financial year 2025 were released. So these were both at constant prices and current prices. That means real GDP as well as nominal GDP, right? So this is just figure. You need to remember these figures. Real GDP 6.4, growth for financial 2024 8.2. आपको सिर्फ financial year 2025 का ही याद रखना है, ज़्यादा याद नहीं रख पाओगे. 6.4, nominal GDP 9.7, real GVA 6.4, real GVA of agriculture and allied sector 3.8%. So these are just figures. You have to cram it up. You have to devise your own methodology to cram these figures. You can create your mnemonics, etc. So first advanced estimates are important. Revise them carefully. Then next we have is Finance Ministry has inducted 2 new members in the Governing Council of National Investment and Infrastructure Fund Trust Limited. So, Finance Minister has recently inducted 2 new members to this body, National Investment and Infrastructure Fund Trustee Limited. What is this? This is basically an alternate investment fund. Okay, Category 2 alternate investment fund hai. It works as an alternate investment funds. Invest pools money and invests them in alternate investment options like your hedge funds, venture capital, etc. Right? So remember this, 2 new members have been inducted. Who are they? SBI Chairman C.S. Shetty and Kotak Mahindra Bank Director Uday Kotak. Remember this. And this NIFTL is a quasi-sovereign wealth fund. Fund size कितना है? 40,000 crores and 49% Indian government का stake है इसमें. 51% is from foreign and other investors. 49% stake is from government of India. The next news is India's economy is likely to grow 6.6% in 2025 according to United Nations. So UN recently has released World Economic Situation and Prospects Report. World Economic Situation and Prospects report, according to which India's economy will grow at 6.6% in 2025 and 6.8% in 2026. So both the projections from UN and this report you need to remember. Okay, and according to this report only, if you look at the regions at the global level, South Asia is expected to remain world's fastest growing region. Okay, South Asia is expected to remain world's fastest growing region. And according to the same report only, global growth will remain at 2.8%. Then next news, Santa has released tax devolution of 1.73 trillion to state governments against devolution of 89,086 crores in December 2024. So recently tax devolution I have already explained you in many classes, right? Finance Commission, vertical tax devolution, horizontal tax devolution. So remember, this tax devolution has been released by the center to the states. Now what you need to remember here is, which are the states who got highest allocation? Highest allocation was given to Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh and West Bengal. The next news is regarding CREDX. If you remember, we have discussed it. Recently, CREDX has received final approval from RBI to launch its trade receivables and discounting system platform, TReDS platform. TReDS का mechanism I have already explained you in the class how TReDS works, right? So TReDS में MSMEs वगैरह के लिए it will be important. So CREDX has become 5th RBI regulated TReDS platform in India. This is something you need to remember from here. 5th RBI regulated TReDS platform in India. So which are the other 4s? RXIL, M1 Exchange, Invoice Smart and C2FO factoring solutions. These are the other ones. TReDS platforms are regulated by RBI under Payment and Settlement Systems Act 2007. Then you have India has recently joined UN Committee of Experts on Big Data and Data Science for Official Statistics. So recently India has joined this committee. This can be important. UN Committee of Experts on Big Data and Data Science for Official Statistics. It will be, leveraging on big data to monitor sustainable development goals, using big data to monitor the achievements and assessment of sustainable development goals. The next is your Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India has mandated exclusive use of e-Bikre auction platform, which is now Baanknet only, to sell assets under liquidation process. So under insolvency and bankruptcy, you liquidate the assets, right? Liquidation process happens. That also has to happen on the Baanknet portal. And remember, e-Bikre now has been revamped as Baanknet, Bank Asset Auction Network. Also remember the full form of Baanknet, which is Bank Asset Auction Network. Then next is retail inflation on the basis of CPI has been recorded 4-month low in low at 5.22% in December 2024. 4-month low retail inflation it was there. That's why you see the cut down in the recent repo rate, because otherwise repo rate was kept higher due to high food inflation. So this is due to easing food inflation, and remember CPI ka base year presently is 2012. Then PhD Chambers of Commerce and Industry, it says India's economy is expected to be 4th largest in world by 2026, surpassing Japan. This is just a mere fact. Nothing else is important from here. That we will be 4th largest, surpassing Japan by 2026. Then NPCI has partnered with UAE-based payment solutions provider Magnati. NPCI has partnered with Magnati to offer UPI as transaction method for Indians visiting the West Asian countries. All the Indians who are visiting any West Asian country, they can use UPI for their payment method. So it will be very easy for them, right? So this can be important to remember. For this purpose, NPCI has partnered with UAE's Magnati. The next is World Bank has projected India's growth to be at 6.7% in next 2 fiscal years, right? Financial year 2026, 6.7, 2025, 6.5. These 2 projections from World Bank you need to remember. in the Global Economic Prospects Report. Also remember who releases these reports. So Global Economic Prospects Report is released by World Bank. Is released by World Bank. Financial year 2026 6.7 and 2025 में 6.5. World Bank का headquarter also remember Washington DC. Then you have IMF. IMF has maintained India's growth to be solid at 6.5% for next 2 fiscal years. Okay, in World Economic Outlook report. So in World Economic Outlook report, it says India maintains fastest growth rate among world's largest economies. So IMF says for next 2 fiscal years, India will be growing at 6.5%. Remember this growth projection coming from IMF. Then this thing, Shri Ram Housing Finance has officially rebranded itself as True Home Finance. These kind of questions were also asked. You know, I exactly don't remember which examination, but they have asked this thing in which the name was changed, right? So rebranding happened and they have asked this question. So this is important. Shri Ram Housing Finance has also been rebranded as True Home Finance. Then recently, Germany luxury car brand BMW has unveiled its, BMW X1 long wheelbase, which is all electric vehicle at Bharat Mobility. And this is first of its EV to be made in India. That's why I have taken this thing in news. Then next you have Kotak. Recently, Kotak Mutual Fund has launched Kotak BSE Sensex Index Fund. I have discussed this thing in detail in the class, so please revise it carefully. Kotak BSE Sensex Fund launch किया है, open-ended scheme है, and it will be tracking the BSE Sensex Index. Okay, and it is offering you regular and direct plans both with growth and IDCW options. IDCW option क्या है? That you can withdraw the money simultaneously. So this is something I have explained in the classes. Please remember these concepts. Revise the classes carefully. इसमें maximum total expense ratio permissible जो है it is 1% and there is no exit load. Okay, there is no exit load. Then next is Global Investment Trends Monitor, Global Foreign Direct Investments. According to this report, FDI has dipped by 8% in 2024. According to which? According to Global Investment Trends Monitor, global FDI has dipped by 8% in 2024. Okay, so who releases the report? It is released by UNCTAD, United Nations Trade and Development. And if you look at region-wise, FDI to developing countries declined 2%, FDI to developing Asia fell by 7%. So this is important, FDI is declining, 8% it has declined. And where is this organization's headquarters is? So UNCTAD is headquartered at, remember, Geneva, Switzerland. Then you have Global Plastic Action Partnership, which is an initiative by World Economic Forum. So it has recently reached a significant milestone by expanding its network to include 25 countries. Recently, Global Plastics की जो partnership है to eliminate the use of plastics, recycle them. 25 countries are there because 7 new countries have joined. So remember the names of 7 new countries which have joined: Angola, Bangladesh, Gabon, Guatemala, Kenya, Senegal, and Tanzania. These are the 7 countries which have recently joined Global Plastic Action Partnership of World Economic Forum. So presently 25 countries are there, and from India you see Maharashtra has also joined this move, right? So remember Maharashtra from India has also been active in this. The next thing is Unified Pension Scheme. So recently Finance Ministry has officially notified that UPS under the NPS will come into effect from April 1, 2025. So you need to remember this date. April 1, 2025 is the implementing date of UPS. UPS के सारे features हम detail में discuss कर चुके हैं, but still let's revise. So there is a assured pension which is 50% of your average basic pay which has been drawn over the last 12 months. And this pay is to be proportionate for lesser service period up to minimum of 10 years of service. You are only eligible if you have minimum 10 years of service, otherwise you are not. Then assured family pension, 60% of the pension of the employee will be immediately given before her demise. Then assured minimum pension at the rate 10,000 per month on superannuation after minimum 10 years. So these are the important features. Remember, minimum pension 50% of average basic pay, family pension 60% of the pension of the employee, and assured minimum pension 10,000 per month. But 10 years has to be minimum service. Then this was recommended, remember, by a committee, by a high-level panel which was led by former Finance Secretary and present Cabinet Secretary TV Somanathan. So TV Somanathan ने इस committee को chair किया था, which gave the recommendation of unified pension system. You need to remember that. Then next you have National Urban Cooperative Finance and Development Corporation in Mumbai. Was inaugurated recently by Union Home Minister and Minister of Cooperation Amit Shah. So what is this? This has been approved by RBI, kind of an umbrella organization to address the challenges faced by urban cooperative banks in their operations. To deal with all the challenges particularly faced by urban cooperative banks. Okay, and this initiative will assist approximately 1500 urban cooperative banks. What will be the paid up capital of this? The paid up capital is 300 crores. Remember this thing. This is an important figure. Paid up capital of this National Urban Cooperative Finance and Development Corporation, 300 crores. Headquarters will be at Mumbai. Also remember, 2025 has been declared as International Year of Cooperatives. So this can also be important. 2025 has also been declared as International Year of Cooperatives. So that is going to be important. Remember the paid up capital 300 crores. The next is CBIC, Central Board of Indirect Taxes, has introduced amendment to GST rules to issue TIN. TIN. What is TIN? Temporary Identification Number. Temporary Identification Number. What is the purpose? They are being issued to entities which are not required to register under the GST Act, but you know they need to make payments under some specific provisions. Those who have to make certain payments under GST, but they do not require to be registered as per the present laws of GST. So उनको GST related transactions के लिए TIN will be issued. Remember, Temporary Identification Number. The next is Government of India has approved the introduction of Mutual Credit Guarantee Scheme for MSMEs, MCGS MSME, for providing 60% guarantee coverage. 60% guarantee coverage by National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company Limited to member lending institutions for credit facilities up to ₹100 crore sanctioned to eligible MSMEs. तो जितनी भी MSMEs हैं उनको credit guarantee coverage provide कराती है government. You know that budget में भी इस scheme को हमने detail में discuss किया था, right? So 60% guarantee coverage will be provided by National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company Limited for credit facilities up to 100 crores. For this, the borrower should be an MSME with valid Udyam registration number. Loan amount shall not exceed 100 crores. Remember, project cost could be higher amount also. Minimum cost of equipment machinery is 75% of project cost. In that case only you will be eligible. Also, loans up to ₹50 crores under the scheme shall have a repayment period of up to 8 years with an 2-year moratorium period also. So remember 8 years and 2 years ka moratorium will be provided. The next thing is Zapto recently has marked a milestone with completion of its reverse flip. So it is flipping its base from Singapore to India. Zapto bringing its base from Singapore to India ahead of the proposed IPO. Then next is Financial Intelligence Unit. India has imposed a monetary penalty of ₹9.27 crore on Bybit Fintech Limited recently for violations of the obligations under Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So money laundering का कुछ act का violation हुआ था, that's why. The next thing, NPCI has recently mandated that all UPI transaction IDs must be strictly alphanumeric, banning special characters from 1st February 2025 itself. So you remember this news, all these special characters like @ hashtag, percentage, dollars, whatever will not be used. They have to be alphanumeric only. All the UPI IDs will be alphanumeric. Remember, no special characters from February 1, 2025. Now moving on to regulatory bodies news. So recently, RBI has approved merger of National Cooperative Bank Limited, Bangalore, with Cosmos Cooperative Bank Limited, Maharashtra. Also from this merger, you need to remember the power of this approving this kind of merger. Power has been conferred under subsection 4 of section 44A, read with section 56 of Banking Regulation Act 1949. Remember that. Then MF Light framework from SEBI. We have discussed this thing in detail. So remember, MF Light framework recently SEBI has introduced for passive mutual fund only for passive mutual fund. Under the framework, minimum asset under management would be 5,000 crores or more. So it will be eligible. All these entities will be eligible to be under this MF Light framework. Those whose minimum asset under management is rupees 5,000 crores or more. Okay, and capital and lock-in requirements. So remember, initial shareholding of sponsor equivalent to capital contributed, not less than 75 crores, and it will be locked in for 3 years to ensure investors or sponsors vested interest into the fund itself, right? So remember this thing, 5,000 crores, 75 crore ka it should be at least not less than 75 crores of initial shareholding of sponsor locked in for 3 years. Then next is MF Light framework, बहुत important है, उसको रिवाइज करना है आपको ध्यान से. Next is SEBI mandated the integrated filing of LODR. So integrated filing क्या है? Integrated filing of list under listing obligations and disclosure requirement to make the compliance easy and disclosure very simple. So they have integrated periodic filings under two broad categories, governance and financial, right? Governance related जितने भी disclosures हैं, corporate governance reports, investor grievance redressal reports, etc. They will have to be filed within 30 days. Within 30 days of the quarters end, and financial disclosures में related party transactions and all within 45 days of quarters end. So remember, all the governance related disclosures 30 days of quarters end, and financial disclosures 45 days of the quarters end. Next is RBI has implemented revised norms requiring deposit taking housing and for housing finance companies. So जितनी भी deposit taking housing finance companies हैं, उनके लिए revised norms हैं effective from 1st January. These companies must hold liquid assets equivalent to 14% of their outstanding deposits. So थोड़ा सा इनका criteria बढ़ा दिया है, how much liquid assets they should hold, at least 14%, okay, of their outstanding deposits, out of which 8% should be in unencumbered approved securities. Also, RBI has mandated by July 1, 2025, total liquid assets requirement will be increased to 15%. Abhi 14% hai, further they will be increasing it to 15%, then including 10% in the unencumbered approved securities. ये सारी न्यूज सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स हमने क्लासेस में एक एक कॉन्सेप्ट डिस्कस किया है, सो प्लीज रिवाइज इट. देन नेक्स्ट यू हैव आरबीआई फ्लोटिंग रेट सेविंग्स बॉन्ड. So recently, if you see, RBI has announced interest rate for RBI floating rate saving bonds from Jan to June 2025. So what will be the interest rate? 8.05%. Lock-in period 7 years का है. No premature withdrawal option, but senior citizens can do. So senior citizens can get the option to prematurely withdraw the money with a penalty and after a minimum lock-in period. So 60 to 70 years का age, lock-in period will be 6 years. 70 to 80 years, 5 years, and above 80, those senior citizens who are aged above 80, they can withdraw their investment after 4 years from the date of investment. So this is for senior citizens. 7 years का overall minimum lock-in period है. 8.05 interest rate है. You need to remember this. Next is RBI has mandated that all the lenders must update their credit bureau records every 15 days. जितने भी lenders हैं, they have to update their credit bureau records every 15 days, okay, and this has been effective already from January 1st, 2025, so as to provide more accurate information and timely representation of the borrower's, financial condition. Previously, they were updating it only once a month, but now they are required to update it every 15 days. Every 15 days. Remember that. Then of course, World Gold Council. So recently, according to World Gold Council, central banks around the world have collectively added 53 tons of gold to their reserves. And if we talk about particularly RBI has added 8 tons, remember. How many? 8 tons. And this is second largest after Poland. So maximum gold has been added by Poland. Second is RBI. First is Poland, second is RBI, 8 tons. Remember that. Then next is RBI has asked the credit information companies and credit institutions that complainants should be given a compensation of 100 rupees per calendar day in case you fail to resolve the customer complaint within a period of 30 calendar days from the date of initial filing of the complaint with the CI or CIC. जब भी complaint file हुई है, within that 30 days time frame, if you have not been able to resolve the complaint, you will be paying the complainant 100 rupees per calendar day. Per calendar day. And remember presently how many credit information companies? So 4. Currently, there are 4 credit information companies which are authorized by RBI. Okay, remember their name: TransUnion Sibyl, CRIFI, Mark, and then Equifax and Experian. So these are the 4 names. Remember these 4 names. Okay. Next, RBI has recently announced names of the winners of 3rd edition of Global Hackathon. यहाँ पे आपको winners याद नहीं रखने, बहुत सारी categories हैं, बहुत सारे names हैं. You only have to remember the theme here. What was the theme of this Global Hackathon? Theme was zero financial frauds and being Divyang friendly. Zero financial frauds and being Divyang friendly. Prize money 40 lakh for winners across each problem statement. There were a lot of categories, so you need not remember all the winners. Just remember the theme, and the 3rd phase of the final evaluation was held in Bengaluru. Then next, SEBI has recently issued guidelines on the regulatory framework for research analysts and investment advisors. What are the guidelines? Let's see quickly. We have discussed this thing in detail. All research analysts, they must meet deposit requirements by 30th April 2025. They are required to maintain deposit based on their client base ranging from 1 lakh for up to 150 clients to 10 lakh for over 1000 clients. Okay. These are the revised framework. And investment advisors के लिए कितना deposit है minimum? So investment advisors, they are mandated to follow deposit system tied to again number of clients. So the existing investment advisors, they must comply with the deposit requirement by June 30, 2025. दोनों की dates आपको याद रखनी है. This is 30th April for research analysts, and this is the amount which they have to deposit as per number of clients. And this is your investment advisors guidelines. They have to comply with this by June 30, 2025. Both the dates are different, so please remember. Then next is RBI has recently released draft formats for financial statement of cooperative banks. Draft format release किया था, how should be your financial statement looking like, right? So for cooperative banks, so you need to remember the section and the act here. Section 29 read with section 56 of Banking Regulation Act 1949. Under this, cooperatives are required to prepare a balance sheet and profit loss account. So this is something important to remember because the news was there. That's why the section and the related act becomes important. Next one is SEBI has eased norms for settlement of client funds in trading accounts that have remained inactive for 30 days. 30 days तक अगर inactive रहा है तो उस process को SEBI ने थोड़ा सा easy कर दिया है. How? So stockbrokers, they are no longer required to identify inactive accounts daily and settle them within 3 working days. Instead, all these funds in such accounts which are inactive for 30 days, they will be settled during the monthly running account settlement cycle. So अब daily नहीं करना है, monthly running settlement cycle होगा, monthly cycle में it will be there. Okay, monthly cycle में daily नहीं करना पड़ेगा stock brokers को. Then you have Strata. Strata has got SEBI's license to launch its own small and medium real estate investment trust. Strata, remember Strata recently has got the SEBI license to launch its own small and medium REIT. Then next is RBI Innovation Hub and IIMA Ventures have recently launched Swanari Tech Sprint 3.0. Swanari Tech Sprint RBI H का एक idea है, you know, this is to foster women-centric fintech startups in India, provide them with fintech opportunities. RBI Innovation Hub, you need to remember initial capital कितना है इसका? RBI Innovation Hub ₹100 crores. It was established in 2022 as Section 8 company under Companies Act, headquartered at Bengaluru, Karnataka. Okay, RBI Innovation Hub is headquartered at Bengaluru, remember. Then next, CRISIL has recently unveiled its new brand identity also. So CRISIL की नई brand identity क्या है? CRISIL written like this. Earlier it was written like all capital letters, but now the first letter will be capital, other will be in the smaller case. Next, you have RBI has published Trends in Progress of Banking in India report 23-24. According to it, the total penalties paid by public sector banks has increased 6 times, to 24 crores in financial year 2024. Private sector banks paid almost 25 crores, and RBI has imposed monetary penalty on 169 regulated entities as of 2024. 169 regulated entities पे penalty लगाई थी. The next is SEBI has recently proposed to increase the investment threshold for granular disclosures by FPI. FPI को granular disclosures करने होते हैं. Granular disclosures is something I have discussed with you in much detail in the class. Revise it properly. So granular disclosures का current threshold is 25,000 crores. The proposed threshold is 50,000 crores. Remember, granular disclosures का proposed threshold is 50,000 crores. Under the existing frameworks, all the foreign portfolio investors, those who are holding more than 50% of Indian equity assets under management in a single India corporate group or exceeding rupees 25,000 crores in equity AUM are required to provide detailed disclosure of their holdings or granular disclosure. But now it will be raised to 50,000 crores. 50,000 crores, remember this figure. Then next is RBI has issued FAQ on reset of floating interest rate on equated monthly installment based personal loans. जो EMI based personal loans हैं उनके लिए कुछ FAQs release किए थे. So under it, what has been there? Let's see. So first of all, what is a personal loan? Personal loans, any loan given to the individual, which either consists of consumer credit, educational loan, loan given for creation enhancement of immovable assets like housing and all, loans given for investment in financial assets, shares, debentures के लिए जो loan दिया जाएगा, that is also eligible to be qualified in personal loan. First of all, this much is clear. Then what is the highlight? So regulated entities like banks, they must provide personal loans borrower with an option to switch to and from a फिक्स रेट. तो उन्होंने बोला कि इन पर्सनल लोन्स में बोरोवर मस्ट बी प्रोवाइडेड, मैंडेटरी है टू स्विच फिक्स से फ्लोटिंग, फ्लोटिंग से फिक्स रेट, फिक्स से फ्लोटिंग रेट. दिस इज द थिंग RBI has introduced. Remember, they should have an option to switch to floating rate. Okay, and this is mandatory to be offered. Next is SEBI has renewed the recognition to AMC Repo Clearing for 1 year to clear transactions. So AMC Repo Clearing as a clearing corporation will be working 1 year till January 16, 2026 for clearing the settlement transactions in repo and reverse repo in the debt securities. जितने भी debt securities में repo reverse repo transaction है उनके settlement clear करेगा भी 1 साल till 16 January 2026. Next is SEBI has revised timelines for credit rating agencies to enhance ease of doing business by introducing the term working days instead of days for compliance deadlines. This is important. Now it will be working day, not a normal calendar day. So under the revised rules, credit rating agencies, they are required to publish press release on rating actions within 7 working days. Okay. Now 7 working days. संडे नहीं, संडे होगा बीच में तो the next working day will be considered. 7 working days, remember. And then similarly for reviewing ratings in the case of delays in debt servicing etc., timeline has been adjusted to 2 working days from 2 calendar days. Calendar days नहीं है, अब it would be working days. 7 working days to publish the rating actions, 2 working days for reviewing the ratings in case of delays or debt servicing. Next is SEBI has proposed mandating listed companies to issue securities only in demat form. तो जितने भी listed companies हैं, they can issue securities only in dematerialized form. This is going to be mandatory to encourage demat holding of securities. If investor does not have a demat account, the issuer company will be required to open a separate demat account. Okay. Then next is RBI has announced that it would be conducting daily variable rate repo auctions on all working days in Mumbai. So recently VRR auctions हमने discuss किए थे, monetary policy class में भी किया है. Variable rate repo auction, they are conducted to inject liquidity, and variable reverse repo, they are conducted to absorb the liquidity. Variable rate repo auctions जो है आपके liquidity inject करने के लिए. Also recently there has been system deficit, that's why constantly you see VRR auctions have been notified, जिसमें एक minimum amount notify करता है RBI, and then bidding announce होती है. Bidding accept होती है, generally it remains I think 1 basis point or something higher than repo. तो repo से higher रहेगा VRR में, remember. And 50,000 का अमाउंट नोटिफाई किया था इनिशियली, 50,000 करोड़. ओके, देन नेक्स्ट इज RBI has liberalized the Foreign Exchange Management Act to promote cross-border transactions, you know, in Indian rupee and local currencies. So RBI basically has allowed ओवरसीज ब्रांचेस ऑफ ऑथोराइज बैंक्स टू ओपन INR अकाउंट्स. जितनी भी ऑथोराइज बैंक्स की ओवरसीज ब्रांचेस है वो भी INR अकाउंट्स ओपन कर सकती हैं. अभी तक ओवरसीज ब्रांचेस को अलाउड नहीं था, इट वाज नॉट अलाउड फॉर ओवरसीज ब्रांचेस. द अमेंडमेंट्स नाउ अलाउ नॉन रेसिडेंट्स टू सेटल बोनाफाइड ट्रांजैक्शंस विद अदर नॉन रेसिडेंट्स यूजिंग बैलेंसेस इन देयर repatriable INR accounts like special non-resident rupee account, special rupee vostro account, जिसमें rupee में you maintain your account. So the authorized banks can open these INR accounts. Overseas branches can also open up now. Otherwise, overseas branches so far were not allowed to open up these branches. The next thing you have here is RBI has redistributed 33 departments. We have seen अभी 33 departments को reshuffle किया था. You just need to remember top departments have been given to whom. Monetary Policy Department given to M. Rajeshwar Rao. Then you have Department of Supervision and Deposit Insurance given to Swaminathan Janaikiram, and Department of Payment and Settlement has been handed over to T. Ravi Shankar. Remember these things. We have taken up this thing in questions also. And also RBI has mandated banks to use 1600 before the series of any transactional calls and 140 for any promotional calls. It will help combat financial frauds which are increasing nowadays. So ये दोनों series आपको याद रखनी है. For transactional and promotional calls it will be mandatory. Then recently RBI has announced list of NBFCs in the upper layer under scale-based regulations. So NBFCs का, you know, there's 4-layer classification: the lower, middle, upper and top layer. Top layer generally remains empty to be filled if there is any systemic risk caused by systemically important NBFCs. So recently these NBFCs have been inducted in the upper layer, not in the top layer. Almost 15 NBFCs are there. You can go through the list. Just go through the list and that would be important, right? Then next you have SEBI has recently launched an e-learning course on municipal bonds. Yes, so this course municipal bonds को promote कर रहा है SEBI, because municipal bonds are what they help these tier 3 governments to raise funds, right? So municipal bonds awareness के लिए course है being launched by, conceptualized and designed by SEBI in collaboration with NISM, National Institute of Securities Markets. NISM और भी courses launch करता है and this is the one. So remember, in collaboration with NISM. Next important news is SEBI is planning to bring in system of when listed platform. When listed platform से क्या होगा? Investors can sell their shares as soon as they are allotted in an IPO. So this is to curb grey market trading. What is grey market trading? When you have unofficial trading of securities. When you do unofficial trading of securities before you are listed on the stock exchange, right? So to curb this unofficial trading, they have brought in a platform when listed. So as soon as you are allotted IPO, you can start your, you know, selling shares. So this is when listed platform, remember, to curb grey market trading. And next one is RBI has eased norms pertaining to settlement of dues, yes, between asset reconstruction companies and borrowers. इनके बीच में जो भी dues है उनके settlement को भी थोड़ा सा easy किया है. Let's see. Earlier requirement was settlement above 1 crore required a full board approval. Now settlement above 1 crore can be approved by based on a board approved policy with decisions delegated to committee of the board. तो full board approval नहीं चाहिए, board approved policy की basis पे it can be approved. Settlements between any asset reconstruction company and borrower above rupees 1 crore. Also remember, there is easier process for small loans below 1 crore. What about the settlement worth rupees below 1 crore? So settlements up to 1 crore can now be approved by an official not involved in the acquisition of the concerned financial asset. Earlier क्या था? It was to be evaluated by independent advisory committee. Abhi an official can only approve it below 1 crore. So this is easing out the settlement of claims between ARC and borrower. Then SEBI has also proposed new framework for social stock exchanges with changes in definition. Social stock exchange is very important. Definition भी change की है. So first of all, NPO क्या है? अभी जो non for profit organization है, definition है, which qualify to be on the social stock exchange. They mean any social enterprise who are registered under a charitable trust or public trust statute or a company incorporated under section 8, right, of Companies Act. Now you see which activities will be eligible as social enterprise to be expanded, to be inducted on the social exchange, social stock exchange. So which activities? Welfare of disadvantaged children, women, destitutes, that means poor, elderly and disabled, vocational skills and promotion, education of art, culture and heritage. These activities would qualify for you to be on social stock exchange. And also remember, SEBI has proposed that not profit organizations will be permitted to register with social stock exchanges for 2 years without raising funds through SSEs. Even if you don't raise funds, so 2 years without raising funds, you can onboard these social stock exchange. Remember, ये न्यूज भी हमने काफी डिटेल में कवर की थी उस टाइम. Remember, and revise it carefully, right? Revise it carefully through your documents, through the content provided. And recently RBI has also requested commercial banks to provide data on how the proposed changes in liquidity coverage ratio norms could affect them. I have also covered this thing in your MPC, Monetary Policy Committee report. So RBI wants basically banks to hold higher proportion of, highly liquid assets. जो आपके high liquid assets होते हैं, RBI is planning the banks should hold more liquid assets. This is not implemented. RBI has asked the banks, how is it going to affect their operations? Submit your report. So proposed change क्या है? Additional 5% of runoff factor. Remember, additional 5% runoff factor means what? What do you expect in a distress situation, in a stress situation? How much depositors' money will be withdrawn by the depositors? So उसमें जितना भी है अभी उसमें और 5% का जोड़ लो, 5% additional runoff factor. Assume more 5% of deposit withdrawals in any case of banking crisis or stress, any economic stress, so as to make banking system resilient in any kind of situation. And also remember, the latest update is also update this thing in your PDF because it was there in MPC. जो भी 7th Feb को MPC हुआ था उसमें अनाउंस किया था. I have updated in the PDF. यहाँ पर मैंने कर दिया है, आप अपने डॉक्यूमेंट्स में कर लेंगे. This is not going to be launched before 31st March 2026. पहले 25 की डेट थी, but now it will not be launched before 31st March 2026. Remember. Then again you see for liquidity injection, RBI has announced again VRR operations, VRR auctions. Okay, so almost 2.09 trillion rupees ki liquidity deficit RBI has witnessed in the banking system. So 16th January 2025 se VRR auction has again started for 50,000 crores, and VRR we have discussed again and again to inject liquidity. Further tranches will be there. Next is SEBI has launched Digital Knowledge Repository, which is Dharohar milestone in the Indian securities market. Dharohar milestones in the Indian securities market. This is a kind of document. It will be showcasing the heritage and evolution of Indian securities market. कैसे evolve हुआ है. So remember this thing. Then recently, under Section 45 IE Clause 1 of RBI Act 1934. And as per recommendation of NHB, RBI has superseded the board of directors of AVM India Housing Finance Private Limited. Okay, because there were certain governance concerns associated with this. And Ram Kumar, ex-CGM of Punjab National Bank, has been appointed as administrator for this. Next is Reserve Bank has decided to conduct following operations to inject liquidity. OMO purchase auction हुआ है 60,000 crores, 56-day VRR auction for notified amount of 50,000 crores. 50,000 crores का VRR auction है, अलग अलग tranches में हुआ था. We have discussed this thing again and again. So remember अभी ये सारे auctions RBI ने किए. Also rupee dollar swap auction भी हुआ है $5 billion का for a tenor of 6 months. Rupee dollar swap. Just a second. So remember this. Rupee dollar swap is also there. और ये जो स्वैप हुआ था डॉलर रुपी स्वैप क्या होता है इन एक्सचेंज फॉर डॉलर either you sell rupee to the banking system or you purchase the dollars or you sell the dollars to the banking system, either the way. It depends on what you want to do, right? So under the swap auction minimum bid size was 10 million US dollars and thereafter multiples of 1 million US dollars. Okay, remember that. Then you have IRDAI has issued directive that mandates insurers to not revise health insurance premium for senior citizens by more than 10% annually. Yes, recently, not more than 10% revision should be there in premiums associated with health insurance policies, you know, because it affects lot of senior citizens also. Then RBI recently has set the interest rate on Government of India floating rate bonds 2035. So remember this thing, 2035 maturity wale 6.66% per annum. 6.66% per annum it will be there. Remember this, 6.66 per annum. And these rates are set, you know, every 5 years. So that is the interest rate. The next is SEBI has barred finfluencers from using live recent stock market data and educational content. So recently you see lot of influencers have been misguiding the audience. तो SEBI का ये guideline आया है जितने भी influencers हैं live stock market trading के data को use नहीं करेंगे for educational content. Next is SEBI has developed web-based portal for reporting glitches by exchanges and market infrastructure institutions. So recently SEBI has developed a web-based portal. What is the name of the portal? iSpot. Remember iSpot. Integrated SEBI portal for technical glitches. This is the portal where all these market infrastructure institutions, exchanges, they can report any technical glitches which they are facing. So iSpot, remember that. Next is RBI has tightened the norms for imposing monetary penalties and compounding offences under Payment and Settlement System Act. So RBI, you see, is empowered to impose penalty not exceeding 10 lakh or twice the amount involved in such contravention case. Earlier क्या था 5 lakh से ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए, अभी क्या रिवाइज किया है 10 lakh up to 10 lakh you can impose under contravention under any, you know, Payment and Settlement Systems Act. Contravention of this act or default, it can be, penalty can be up to 10 lakh or twice the amount in question, right? Twice the amount in question. Also, in case where such contravention is continuing, a further penalty up to 25,000 for every day after the first will be there. Now moving on to banking news, you have unified payment interface. UPI recently has processed nearly 16.73 billion financial transactions in December 2024. Remember that. And recently, RBI has received application by VFS Capital Limited under on-tap licensing because it wants to work as a small finance bank. तो आपको यहाँ पर क्या ध्यान रखना है? Small finance bank की क्या guidelines है? Small finance bank minimum paid up capital should be 200 crores, okay? And then priority sector lending में it is required, a small finance bank is required to extend at least 75% of its adjusted net bank credit to priority sector lending. Capital adequacy ratio at least 15%. Branch network, at least 25% of the branches should be located in unbanked areas. Remember this thing. Then recently you see National Payment Corporation of India has lifted user limit for WhatsApp Pay effectively. WhatsApp Pay can now offer UPI services to its entire user base in India. To entire user base in India, it can extend the services. Okay. Earlier there was a cap of 100 million users, but abhi pure India mein it can extend its services. Then next thing you have is recently UCB stakeholders, they are racing to meet 300 capital requirement by RBI deadline. So key urban cooperative bank stakeholders, they are trying to ensure that the umbrella organization for UCBs has required 300 crore capital by, Feb 7, 2025. So they are planning to bring in this umbrella organization for UCBs, which will assist them in their further course of operations. Next is RBI has approved HDFC Bank to pick up an aggregate stake of up to 9.5%, remember, in Kotak Mahindra Bank, AU Small Finance Bank and Capital Small Finance Bank. Next is SBI has launched tab-based end-to-end digital onboard process for NRIs to streamline opening of NRE and NRO account. So tab-based digital NRI onboarding journey will be provided. Further documentation will not be required. It will be easy to onboard NRE and NRO accounts by non-residents. Then you have Bharat Pay to sell 25% of its 49% stake in Unity Small Finance Bank. Okay. So Bharat Pays to sell 25% stake in Unity Small Finance Bank. Then next is Bajaj Broking has partnered with Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank to launch this 3-in-1 account, you see, where you have the banking account, trading account and the broking account. So integrated banking, broking and investment services, 3-in-1. Remember, Bajaj Broking and Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank. We have discussed this thing earlier also. The next thing is Tata Capital has raised $400 million through maiden overseas dollar denominated bond, and this is first investment grade rated issuance from Tata Group company. That's why it is important. And a Reg S status means bonds issued need not be registered with US Securities Exchange Commission. This was not required to be registered with US Securities Commission, and this is first investment grade rated issuance from any Tata Group company. $400 million, remember that. Then 3 Indian banks have ranked among top 25 global banks by market capitalization, which are they? HDFC, ICICI and SBI. Their ranks are 13th, 19th and 24th respectively in top 25 list of banks in terms of market capitalization, and the list overall has been topped by JP Morgan Chase, remember, JP Morgan Chase. Then next is your Competition Commission of India recently has imposed 40 lakh penalty on Goldman Sachs, okay, for some contravention of failing to notify the Biocon Biologics Limited under Competition Act. उसमें जो investment किया था इन्होंने वो notify नहीं किया था, that's why this penalty is there. Then next you have cross-border payment firm SkyDo has received in principle approval from RBI to operate as payment aggregator cross-border entity. Payment aggregator cross-border entity, and presently only 5 are there, like Aiden India Technology, Amazon Pay, Cash Free Payments, IndiaIdeas.com, Paytm Services, etc. And then is your SkyDo, payment aggregator cross-border entity. Then you have Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana mein, there is all-time high disbursal of 3.39 lakh crores in Q3 of financial year 2025. Remember this amount. Mudra Yojana, aap sabko pata hai, Shishu, Kishore, Tarun category. Then you have NHB promoted RMBS Development Company Limited has now received a certificate from RBI, registration certificate from RBI. So isko mil gaya hai, and the company is expected to commence operations in March 2025. Iska jo minimum, jo paid up capital hai for the company is 500 crores. Okay, remember that. And this is there. And NHB is a statutory body under Government of India, and it has set up RMBS Development Company as single largest shareholder. So it is promoted by NHB, remember, promoted by NHB. Then next is your merger of Slice with Northeast Small Finance Bank, and the bank is set to rebrand its name to Slice Small Finance Bank Limited. Slice Small Finance Bank Limited. Then next is PNB has become first Indian bank to go live with Clari 5 revolutionary NCRP integrated solution. Clari 5 kya hai? Clari 5 is cyber security solution. It has also been integrated with your I4C, Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, to cover internet, mobile, ATM, UPI, NEFT, RTGS transactions to prevent cyber attacks on all these methods of transactions. This is the thing. Clari 5. ये हमने डिस्कस किया था. Then next is CRED recently has launched beta version of e-rupee wallet, becoming first fintech to integrate RBI central bank digital currency. First fintech to integrate digital currency of RBI, CRED. And Yes Bank will be the first sponsor bank, remember. And this wallet supports transactions up to rupees 10,000 per transfer with a daily transaction of rupees 50,000 and storage of up to 1 lakh. So remember this thing, very, very important, digital currency. CRED first fintech to do that. And recently, Elon Musk owned social media platform X is collaborating with Visa to introduce a real-time payment system. Let's see what they bring. So X is collaborating with Visa for digital wallet partnership. These were the news. Grade 1 is very important. Remember, these were the top 50 news in a short. Concepts we have discussed in the classes themselves in very much detail. So please revise them carefully. And these were the top 50. It will help you revise your January CA, entire January compilation. Thank you so much for staying tuned in the class. I hope you have enjoyed the class and it helps you in your further course of preparation. I'll see you in the next session. Till then, have a great day. Thank you once again.